It was another action-packed week of sports here at Quinnipiac University. There was a lot to talk about tonight. Women's soccer forward Al Pelletier joins us live with our own Randy Del Valle. The guys discuss whose stock is up on the field hockey team, how volleyball will fare in MAC play, the controversy surrounding the men's lacrosse team, and much more. It's all happening on Bobcat Breakdown. Welcome to Bobcat Breakdown, live from Studio 125. I'm Max Schreiber. Joining me tonight are Mike Dalton and Chris Dacey. How you guys doing tonight?
Excited, Max. Very excited.
Let's get it going.
All right, guys. Let's start it off with a huge story that broke this weekend as the Quinnipiac men's lacrosse team program was suspended indefinitely. Here is the statement released by Lynn Bushnell, the Vice President of Public Affairs at Quinnipiac. The university has suspended men's lacrosse team pending the outcome of an investigation into alleged violations of the student conduct policy. This suspension, which takes effect immediately, prohibits all team activity with the well-being of our student being our top priority. The university has zero tolerance for any behavior that endangers any member of the university community. The suspension does not include the coaching staff. Now on to women's soccer. Randy Del Valle is joining us with women's soccer forward Al Pelletier. Take it away, Randy.
Women's soccer forward, senior forward Al Pelletier. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. So Al, you guys scored 10 goals in the last 4 games after struggling to score early part in the season. So what's been the main difference in these last 4 games for you guys?
I think it's just all the hard work we've been putting into the practices. Like, everyone knows what to do, it's just executing them well. And I think all the time and effort that we've been doing, like, we know we need to do it out on the field, and I think we've really shown it the past 4 games.
From the first game of the season till now, what's the progression been like for the team?
I think the progression we started off on a really big high. We played really hard teams like BC and BU, and to hold our own against teams like that, Dave keeps reminding us BC has had 3 goals scored on them so far this season, all from us. So I think that setting the bar high, I think really prepared us for MAC play, and I hope to do even better.
Speaking of MAC play, you guys face Iona tomorrow. So what are the key points that you guys need to emphasize in that game?
So we got our scouting report today. They have one player, number 33, and the coaches really want us to try and keep her isolated from the game, not letting her kick the balls, the diagonal balls. So if we can shut her down and keep the ball out wide, and the midfield is really important as well, just because that's where we want to be moving the ball to and from each side of the field. So I think if we do that, we'll be really successful. And
speaking of new freshman, Celine Salas has been a huge addition to your team.
Yes.
Well, how important is she going down the stretch of the season for you guys?
I think she's a very key player for us in midfield. She's very creative on the ball, and I think that's something that challenges all of us. I think it makes all of us a better player because she has a different style than what we're used to. And I think it also surprises other teams when they see this girl dribbling at them, being creative, and I think she has very good things to come.
And over your last 4 years, what has been your best memory being on this team?
My best memory has definitely been my sophomore year when we played Siena at Monmouth in the semifinals. I remember we had a free kick, and I got on the end of it and got the game-winning goal. And at the end, we all went back to the hotel. We were screaming and dancing, and I think that was just a memory I'll never forget, just because it was such a big thing for the team to make it that far, and the fact that I got to contribute to it, I think made all the difference.
And you're a senior this year, your last year. What do you want your legacy to be by the time you leave?
My legacy is just that I want to just help the girls. This is a team that we work together. The team is the stars, the coaches say, and I really just want to leave the legacy that you just need to have fun. Don't take everything so seriously. Just when you're out on the field, be yourself, play the way you know how to play, and don't let anyone change that.
Oh, wow. Thank you for joining us today. Back to you, Max, at the desk.
Thanks, Randy. Great job as always. All right, Mike, now I ask you, who is the most effective offensive player on this women's soccer team?
Max, I got to go with Kelsey Goldring. There's a three-way tie for a team lead in goals right now, and it's between Lauren Triglione, Kelsey Goldring, and Madison Barowick. Now, Kelsey has only played in 6 games. Meanwhile, Triglione has appeared in all 9 games. Barowick has started in all 9 games. And so the fact that she has gotten as many goals as Triglione and Barowick in 3 less games, that means she's effective. And she was also predicted before the season to be on the All-MAC team as well, and she was the only Quinnipiac player.
I know that she has missed some games, but the most effective offensive player so far has been Triglione because she's been on the field. I know that Barowick was hurt, but you have to. She leads the team in points, and you have to agree with me on that she has been the most effective player, even though your player has not been on the field.
Yeah, but I mean, she can get hot. I mean, look at the Fairfield game.
I mean, you're assuming she's going to get hot.
2 goals. I mean,
that's an assumption you're making.
She is. I mean, she won Co-MAC Rookie of the Year last season, so she is certainly capable.
I know, but
of
we're not
being
talking
a
about
playmaker.
the past right now. We're talking about the future and what we're doing right now and what have you done for me lately. And
Hey,
Triglione leads the
goals
team
are
in points.
goals. Goals are goals, though.
She also,
And
Triglione also leads the team in
She's so
assists.
much more efficient. I mean, she's gotten 3 goals in 3 less games. What more could you ask for?
I mean, Triglione also has 3 goals, 2 assists.
Yeah, but she did it. It took her 3 more games to do it. You know what I mean?
All right. I disagree, but okay.
Daisy, is this women's soccer's year to win the MAC?
I mean, it's way too early to tell. I always, it's tough to answer these questions, especially like early in the season when I've only had a couple MAC games so far. I mean, why not? I mean, with Dave Clark at the helm, it's tough to say. It's tough to go against Dave Clark. He's the winningest coach in program history. The past 2 years, they've had top 5 finishes. I think I wouldn't be surprised to see him at the top of the MAC at the end of this season.
Honestly, guys, I say absolutely. I mean, 2 years ago, this team made it to the MAC championship against Monmouth. Monmouth being the powerhouse that they are, they rolled over Quinnipiac. But now this team is more experienced because 2 years ago, when players like Myshevsky, Barowick, they were all freshmen and sophomores. Yeah, exactly. Now they're all juniors and seniors, so that they're a very experienced team, and they have the goal scoring ability this year. Last year, it was talked about last week how, not having Nadia Gill, it's kind of made the team share the ball a little bit more, and you can see that because, just like what we said, there's a 3-way tie for a team lead in goals, so that means that everyone's a threat to score on this team, and it's not just one player.
I was at that game at Monmouth. They did play very well. It was I believe it was a 3-2 final, but like I said, very young squad, and most of them are still here, so it would be a perfect opportunity for them to make another run to the MAC championship.
Yeah.
Women's soccer's next game will be home versus Iona tomorrow. All right, it's time to take a quick break on the program. When we come back, we will discuss whose stock is up on the field hockey team and how women's hockey will fare this weekend against the Ohio State University. Stay tuned, we will be right back.
If you like debate, that's a converted relief pitcher making the start because it was a doubleheader. You got no hit by a relief pitcher. You can't tell me that's not embarrassing.
Analysis.
You can see his stance, his positioning right there is excellent.
And a side of entertainment.
Is he right or is he crazy?
Well, we all know the answer to that. He's a bit crazy, but I gotta say,
Then join us on Bobcat Breakdown.
From the court to the ice to here on the diamond, we'll discuss everything you need to know about Quinnipiac athletics.
Bobcat Breakdown, Tuesdays at 9:30.
Welcome to the WQAQ Morning Show. Dan Ball and Emma Spagnolo joining you here from the QAQ studios in Hamden. And Emma, it is that time of year again.
Whether you're on the quad in your room
or off campus,
tune in to Q30 News for stories from student journalists you can trust.
We're covering the latest here on campus and in the surrounding communities.
Get the news you need to know every Wednesday night.
From Hamden to Hollywood, we are your source for entertainment news.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. The Quinnipiac field hockey had a huge Big East Conference win 2-1 against Georgetown this past Friday. However, this past Sunday, they lost big time against UMass Lowell 5-1. So guys, let's play a little game. No real stocks or money are involved here, but whose stock is up or down on the field hockey team this season? First, we start off with goalkeeper Hannah Teicher. Daisy, is her stock up or down?
I'm gonna. Her stock's up. I know you're gonna mention the UMass game here, but that was an out of conference game. It's not as important as the Georgetown game, which was a Big East game, which I was at. It was a huge win, very close win. It was a very defensive game. So my stock is up. I know she had a tough game against UConn, but like anyone would. They're the defending national champions. They absolutely dominate the sport and the conference. And she also had that save that made top 5 plays in sports balls a couple weeks ago. I believe that was play number 2. It was an amazing save. You could argue it could have been number 1. Yes, it was very impressive. To me, that just shows her she's getting more comfortable in net. Obviously, she had to take over. She had big shoes to fill with Livy Golini being gone, but she's getting more comfortable in net, and her stock is up for me.
Yeah, I agree with you to an extent. To be honest, I think she stays neutral because, don't get me wrong, she had a fantastic game against Georgetown.
So her stock's going up.
Yeah, only gave up the 1 goal, but then it was just one of those days against UMass Lowell. I mean, granted, they are a very good team. It's out of conference, so it wasn't as important as Georgetown. But I mean, when you give up 5 goals and you only make 2 saves, and then Galasso comes in and she makes 3 saves in a matter of 15 minutes, where you couldn't even do that in 54 minutes. I mean, that's just, to me, that's not enough where I can say, okay, her stock is up. It's sort of like, she had a really good game, but then she had a really bad one, so that's why I say she's neutral.
All right, makes sense. But I feel like if you are Quinnipiac, you have to believe her stock is going up. After the game she had against Georgetown, obviously she had her struggles against UConn, but the head coach Becky Main said that she did play well at UConn, and I mean, even though it was a loss, like, what are you going to do?
And they've only been in the Big East for 3 years, so we can't just expect them to be a nationally ranked team in 3 years.
And after you have to replace Livy Golini, who was an excellent goalie last year, it's always tough. But I do stand by my statement saying her stock is going up.
All right.
Okay, next we have freshman standout Elisa Van Winkle. Are you guys buying in?
What do you got, Mike?
I am buying in on this girl. Big-time players make big-time plays, and she showed that when she got the winning goal against Georgetown. Like you said, it was a very defensive game, but Bobcats were able to pull through and come back to win that because Georgetown got the first goal.
Yeah, it was a very, very close back-and-forth game, kind of chippy a little bit at the end there, too. And I was sitting next to a father who was getting rowdy in the stands. But other than that, it was a great game to watch. And you gotta love a freshman who comes in and contributes right off the bat. She started this season. She got 9 points already. You gotta love that production you're getting right away. It's something that Becca Main should be very happy with a freshman, especially with this move to the Big East, where they need a playmaker on offense.
And when you're timed for the team leading goals with Michaela Adams, I mean that's stepping up huge.
We'll get to her next time.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we will go to another freshman star, Michaela Adams. What do you think?
Well, like I just said, I like her a lot. She just we just talked about her a little bit when we were talking about Van Winkle. She's got 10 points this year, 4 goals on 7 shots. Very efficient. Another person that's very productive right away. And it's really impressive to see that these young people, these young Bob Kittens, if you will, have been producing right away. You have to love that. Becca Main has to be ecstatic with these 2.
Yeah, honestly, I know this is going to be a little bit of a hot take with you, but I'm going to go with Adams as being down in stock because she played a great Brown game. She got a pair of goals and an assist, but in the 2 games this weekend, she only picked up that assist. And, if she's going to be that playmaker that she is with those 4 goals and those 9 assists, 9 points, then, you really got to come in the clutch, especially when you're playing a good UMass Lowell team. That's really where, you can kind of cement yourself as, that go-to player to, either get a goal or set someone up for another goal. And she just wasn't really able to do that this weekend, so that's why I think her stock's down.
Next we go to middle, Inez Ruiz Martinez. Is her stock up or down?
I say her stock is up because she had an excellent game defensively this weekend. I mean, she made 3 defensive saves. Coming into the weekend, she had 2 defensive saves in the first 7 games, so to make 3 in 2 games was phenomenal. She got 3 of them, I believe, in Georgetown alone. So, you know, her stock is well up.
I say her stock is up too because I look at her stock as the experience factor. She's been here at Quinnipiac she's a junior now. She's played she's seen a lot of time playing in her 3 years here so far. So she brings that experience to the 2 players that we just talked about that are freshmen. She gives them a little experience on the field. She's like that veteran presence in that locker room. And like you said, she leads the team in defensive saves, which is huge. Defense wins championships. I firmly stand by that unless you're playing in the NBA, but that's another story.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, when I was looking at her numbers this week, I wasn't sure. I was like, if she was neutral, up or down, and then all of a sudden I saw those defensive saves, and I'm like, okay, she's up. Because even though, she doesn't have a goal or an assist on the year, defense wins championships.
She's not the person you're going to send out there to get that game-winning goal, but you know she's going to anchor your defense and help your goalie right behind you that you said your stock is going neutral right now. Maybe pick her up a little bit.
Yeah.
And finally, we go to head coach Becca Main. Is her stock high or low?
I'm going to say up, Chris, because before the Brown game, the Bobcats were 2-4. Now they're 4-5. So they're still 1 game under 500. But I mean, things could be a lot worse. They could be 2-7 right now.
Something that I was always taught when I was in high school playing sports is it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. That's why I look at the field hockey team as they joined the Big East. Yes, they're not going to have success right away. It's a marathon, and they're building up to it. You see that they're getting better each and every year, and that's what I saw this past weekend or these past couple games, especially against the Georgetown game. They're getting better. They're getting better each and every week, and each and every year they're going to build up, and eventually they're going to be a force to contend with in the Big East. So that is why my stock is also up for the field hockey team here at Quinnipiac.
Slow and steady wins the race,
They got that nice new stadium to show off in as well.
Definitely.
Okay, now let's hit the hardwood. This weekend, Quinnipiac Volleyball defeated Manhattan 3-0, thanks to the help of freshman phenoms Lydia Jones and Maggie Baker. Mike, if you were coaching a college volleyball team, who of the 2 girls would you want on your roster?
Lydia Jones, no question. Now, this is kind of an interesting situation because when you look at the numbers, I'm a big numbers person, and technically Maggie Baker has 20 more kills than Lydia Jones. Baker has 84, Jones has 64. But you have to take into consideration that Jones missed several games. So if she was healthy for the whole season, I think she would be ahead of Baker in every category.
You're assuming that again. You're assuming things that are going to have that are happening because people are hurt.
Her productivity is off the charts. She is second in the MAC in hitting percentage. Her ball placement is unbelievable. I mean, there were several plays in the Manhattan game where she put the ball on the opposing side of the court and no one was there. And that was the beauty of it, because even though it was a small play, it turned into a big play because it was just the little thing that she did, and that was put the ball perfectly.
I'm going to go with Maggie Baker because, again, she has the bigger sample size. She has proven to me that she belongs on that floor, and she's appeared more games. She has more kills. She has a bigger sample size.
She's so wild, though. I mean, when she will go for a kill, sometimes the ball will end up well out of bounds. And, in volleyball, if you don't have good ball placement or if you can't put the ball in play, then really,
But you said you're a numbers guy, and numbers don't lie. She has the better numbers. She has the better sample size.
That's only because she's played more games, though.
Exactly.
Lydia Jones hasn't. Lydia Jones, when you look at her averages, she averages more kills per set than Maggie Baker does. So, I mean, if she was healthy, Lydia Jones, without a question, she would be the top freshman.
All right. What?
Trust me on this. I'm a beat reporter. I'm a beat reporter.
Chris, this team has 2 standout freshmen. Half of the players on their roster are underclassmen. Will inexperience hurt them in the long run?
In the long run, I don't think so. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you why. Right now, it might. An example I like to use to explain this to you is big Division I basketball like Duke. You have Duke, they have 5 freshmen every year that pretty much start. By the end of the year, when they're NCAA tournament, everyone says, oh, they're just freshmen, but they're not. They're freshmen on the roster, but they have experience. They've pretty much started the entire season, and that's what I see in the Quinnipiac volleyball team right now. They're getting the experience right now, and by the end of the season, they'll have the experience. They'll have, all right, this is what I need to do in this situation. Hey, I need to be a little bit better with my spike play or my kill placement, like you just said.
Yeah.
So that's what I attribute to. I don't think the inexperience will be a problem in the long run. Now it might be, but not down the road.
Yeah, and also Morgan Sherwin, she leads the team in kills. She's only a sophomore. Gabby Horman, second on the team in blocks. She's a sophomore. Morgan Sherwin's a captain. That's a young talent right there.
We also saw this team get led to the MAC tournament our freshman year by Maria Pansari.
Yep.
And a bunch
Natalie
of other
Alecco,
freshmen.
Alejandra Rodriguez,
Exactly.
all
So
of them.
it's been done before.
It has.
Now we turn to men's soccer. The Bobcats are coming off a 2-1 win over Central Connecticut. Senior captain Matthew Taylor stepped up for the Bobcats with 2 goals, including a nice volley to win it towards the end of the second half. Next up, they play Canisius on Wednesday. Guys, will they get the win?
Mike, what do you think?
Yes, they will get the win against Canisius. I loved how Eric DaCosta put it up in the CCSU game. You know, out of the 206 Division I schools that have a soccer team, the Bobcats had the 6th toughest schedule in the country. So they only lost to NC State by a goal. They only lost to UNH by a goal. They tied with UMass Lowell. Those are 3 really top-notch programs right there. I don't see any reason why they can't beat Canisius.
I do agree with you. I just want to say that Canisius did have a nice tough out-of-conference schedule too. They played Michigan State. They lost 3-2, and they tied with Michigan in double OT, and they also lost 10-0 to Akron. So they did have a nice out-of-conference schedule, but I do think the Bobcats take this one. The only thing I see going against the Bobcats in this one right now is that nice 6.5-hour bus ride. Unless they're flying there, but I think they're going to take that nice new Bobcat bus.
All right, it's time for another break. Up next, Mike and Chris will discuss what we saw from the women's ice hockey this weekend and what to expect this season from them. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the WQAQ Morning Show. Dan Ball and Emma Spagnolo joining you here from the QAQ studios in Hamden. And Emma, it is that time of year again.
Tonight on Sandwich News, we will determine what makes a good sandwich and a bad sandwich. First, the standard sandwich. Uninspired and frankly, a little gross. But we have here a Ray and Mike sandwich, the Cadillac of sandwiches. And if you want one, well,
come on down to Ray and Mike's at 3030 Whitney Ave, Hamden, Connecticut. Open every day from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. QCash is accepted.
now that's a sandwich.
Let's get it going. Sports Pause starts right now.
We start tonight with some basketball coverage.
And here again, Aaron Robinson hits the shot of his life. I don't know what that celebration is, MJ, but I'm loving it.
Is that Fortnite?
Thanks for sticking with us. Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown on Q30 TV, sponsored by QBSN. It feels great to finally say it. Hockey season is back. The Quinnipiac women's ice hockey team played Guelph in an exhibition this Saturday in Hamden. The Bobcats took the win 4-1 as Melissa Samaskevich scored twice. Mike, what was your impression from women's hockey this weekend?
Well, I talked about it with some of my former beat reporters for women's hockey last year, and this is one of the best Canadian teams. So to, get a 4-1 win like that, even though it is exhibition, I mean, that's a statement win in my opinion, and it puts the women's hockey team on the right track to get to where they want to be. They have a lot of girls returning to the team. All of their top 5 points getters are back, and I think they could be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, it was great game. Took care of business. Great to see Melissa Samuelskevich get 2 goals.
Definitely.
Yeah.
In our game of the week, the women's ice hockey team will be put to the test this upcoming weekend when they face the Ohio State University, the number 7 ranked team in the nation. Daisy, who you got?
Well, this is an interesting game because Big Ten, they're known for their scoring. Ohio State has their leading scorer coming back. That's Tatum Skaggs, and they don't have their goalie from last year coming back. So, be interesting to see. I think they're going to be. I think it's going to be a little bit of split. They have 2 games. I think they're going to split the weekend.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think they're going to split it. I think Ohio State gets the W on Friday, but then on Saturday, I think Quinnipiac will definitely bounce back. They're usually good with those weekend series, less than 24 hours later, and they got to play that next game. They're usually pretty good when they do lose.
And they're on home ice, so.
Exactly.
We will see if those predictions hold up for you guys. But right now, it's time for Bobcat of the Week. So many to choose from. Daisy, tell us who you got for this week.
I'm going to go back to men's soccer for this one. It's going to be Matthew Taylor, captain of the team, put his team on his back today against in-state rival last weekend against in-state rival Central Connecticut, netted 2 goals. You might say they're lucky, but still they're 2 goals, and they proved to be a difference. The second one was an absolute striker to the back of the net, though. You can't say that was lucky.
Yeah, but it bounced straight to him.
Yeah,
so,
but there was an
it
absolute
definitely
strike
made it
of a net.
a lot
Strike of a
easier.
goal.
I will admit it was a good goal, but he definitely had a little bit of luck.
Yes, the Irishman was smart.
My Bobcat of the Week, I got Allie Grunstein. Even though she didn't get on, the scoring sheet for goals, she more than made up for it in assists. She got 3 assists, assisted Goldring twice, and Salas once. So, sometimes you need those playmakers, and then other times you need those play enablers. Grunstein was the enabler.
Those are both fantastic choices, but my Bobcat of the Week is Elisa Van Winkle. Her go-ahead goal against Georgetown was her 4th of the season, which is tied for the team lead. She is only a freshman. If she's leading the team in goals and taking clutch shots against a big-time Big East opponent now, imagine what her future holds. All right, guys, it's time for the fan favorite segment of the night. Final roars. Mike, start us off.
Last year, Quinnipiac men's and women's ice hockey had subpar seasons. But it's a new year. The men's ice hockey team is looking to reestablish its identity, especially since 18 out of the 28 players are freshmen and sophomores. But as my main girl Beyonce once said, who run the world? Girls. Or in this case, the women's ice hockey team. 3 of the 5-point leaders from last season for men's ice hockey are returning. How many players are back from the women's ice hockey team that finished top 5 in points? All of them. Men's ice hockey only has 3 games against a top 10 nationally ranked team. Women's ice hockey has 10. Their first 2 games are against number 7 Ohio State this weekend. I don't think the NCAA would give women's ice hockey that many games against some of the best teams in the country if they didn't think they could win them.
So with the news of the men's lacrosse team, it had me thinking. Many of us, including a lot of us here, or all of us here at Q30, represent or belong to something that is bigger than ourselves. And we always are representing, especially with Q30 anywhere we go, whether we be covering a Quinnipiac athletic event or covering an explosion in North Haven. We have to present ourselves in the best possible way because whatever we do, good or bad, it always comes back and reflects on Q30. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is if you are a part of something that's bigger than yourself, it comes with some responsibility, and it's my job or anyone's job who is a part of a team or an organization to be smart and watch their actions, because in the long run, it could not just end up affecting themselves, but everyone else on that team or organization.
Last year was a huge disappointment for the Quinnipiac women's ice hockey team. They finished the season 16-17-3 and lost to St. Lawrence in the first round of the ECAC hockey tournament. This year has a different feel, though. The Division I Women's Frozen Four will be played here on Quinnipiac's home ice, the People's United Center. With nearly 95% of the roster returning, going to the Frozen Four here in Hampton would be a great moment for this university. The team has to score which they failed to do last year, averaging 1.8 goals per game. They will be put to the test at home this weekend against number 7 Ohio State, a team that made it to the Frozen Four last season. A win this weekend would be a great opportunity for this team moving forward. Guys, that's all the time we have. Thanks for a great show. I had a ton of fun. Be sure to follow all of our content at Q30.com and theQBSN.com. And of course, follow us on Twitter at Q30Sports and QBSN. That's it. For Mike, Chris, Randy, and everyone else behind the scenes, I'm Max Schreiber. See you next week. Same time, same place.